Hey everyone, and welcome to the first ever episode of Behind the Boots. I'm your host, John Demers, and this is a new podcast series presented by WillCo Media, where our goal is to build a community through telling of the best stories of our vets. Not always, the heartwarming ones, usually the funny ones, the ones you really don't tell your family when you go back home. And along the way, we're going to be donating to various veteran charities and discover new ways to give back to our veteran community. So stick around at the end of the show. We'll tell you a few different ways you can get involved to help our cause. This week, my co-host is a former Army and Air Force soldier, airman.
Correct.
Airman, soldier, airman.
Yeah.
Bobby Colliton. Hello, Bobby. Thank you for coming.
Hello. Thanks for having me on the very first episode.
I know. Got to pop the cherry sometime.
Numero uno?
I figured if I'm going to pop my cherry, might as well have my dad with me while I do it. So, like I said, Army Air Force veteran, also the president and founder of the Escape for the 22 Foundation, which we will touch on in a little bit. So, again, welcome, Bobby. So let's start off military service.
Okay.
So, young lad.
Oh, yeah, young lad.
Over on the West Coast.
The best coast.
Careful with that. All right, so tell us.
Come from a military family, man. That's pretty much the cut of it. I knew growing up that college wasn't probably the best option for me.
What was that?
Why was that?
No, we know why.
We know why. Well, it's because I didn't want to spend money and not really attend
we'll,
classes.
We'll call it because you didn't want to spend money.
So it wasn't really an option or a kind of like when. It was just, or like if. It was just that when, right?
Mm-hmm.
Unique experiences. I had an older brother that was in the military at the time. He was actually in the Washington Army National Guard. My dad had spent 27 years in. My brother convinced me junior year of high school that I should join the Washington Army National Guard. So I did that for a little while and was like, this is really fun. I'd like to do this for real all the time.
Yeah, for like the real thing, yeah.
The late 90s,
So life was good in the late 90s.
Life was good,
Yeah,
Friends was in its heyday.
Nothing.
No shooting wars going on.
Yeah, the worst thing that happened was Monica Lewinsky.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, I remember that. I was in high school, I believe.
Everybody remembers that.
But I was like, hey, let's do this for real. I would join the Army. Did some time around the world in the Army. Did a couple deployments, pre and post 9/11. I actually have a pre 9/11 deployment I did as well.
To
the former Yugoslavia, a little place called Bosnia-Herzegovina.
Oh.
And that's actually what we'll talk about later. I think
perfect.
There's some stuff in
Can't
there.
wait.
Then I had a couple deployments post 9/11 to the usual suspects, Iraq and Afghanistan.
Mm-hmm. In that order?
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Okay.
I had just left one unit. That was the first unit into Afghanistan, and then made it for just in time for the invasion of Iraq.
Perfect. They were waiting for
Boom,
you,
yeah.
Yeah. You just need that one last
one guy. There it is.
And there he is.
Then I chose to, leave the Army. I still wanted to serve, but I wanted to kind of serve in a different capacity.
Like an easier one?
No, actually. In a more supportive environment, I guess, and a comfortable, while being deployed with the Army, you see things that other services are deployed with, and it's not the same as you.
Yeah. So what was it that made you make the switch from, playing in the dirt to the Four Seasons?
Well, one of them happened to be very attractive females in tank tops.
Which I'm assuming are not the Army.
Which was not the Army.
And by assuming, I mean I know for a fact they're not the Army.
At this time, it was early in the 2000s, and the Air Force didn't actually have issued PT gear.
Ooh.
So when we were in the invasion, and they finally brought in like the on the airfield we were stationed on. Or working out of, they finally brought in Air Force personnel, and they had this like shopette trailer thing they brought, and
that they sold all their bikinis.
No, actually, all they sold was, it was crazy. They sold like Slim Jims, and they sold men's boxer shorts in like the plaid,
Yep.
and then wife beaters, and that's it, like for clothing. And all the Air Force females would purchase them, and that would be what they would walk around in once they were out of uniform.
That's
like it was, yeah. And I was like,
what year was this again?
This was 2003.
It's before my time.
So it was funny because we didn't actually live on the airfield. We had to go to the airfield to get fuel for the trucks and stuff, patrols. And we would see stuff that happened. And this was actually before General Order Number 1 was in effect too, so the Air Force could drink while they were deployed to Iraq. So it quickly changed after a few months, but we'd be driving.
I wonder why.
We'd be driving on the airfield to either go to like their chow hall or whatever, and I'd see something, and I'd be like, a girl in boxer shorts rolled up and a wife beater, and I would say, hey, what number is that to my gunner? He'd be like, that's number 3,785, Sergeant. And he's like, yep.
Where can we get one of those?
So I decided that I wanted to wet my whistle with a different service branch and be a little more supportive.
That's a word for it.
And then I actually got stop lost, and then did a whole nother tour while I was stop lost to Afghanistan.
That is such an Army way to to just fuck someone right in the ass as they're trying to get out. Oh, you want to change services?
Yeah.
All right, we got something for you.
Yeah. So I spent 15 months stop lost, and then I got out, and I got completely out of the military, and I was like with the goal of joining the Air Force, and I ended up serving 8 years active duty in the Air Force. I actually also wanted to deploy less, but it was funny as I actually went more places with the Air Force with the Army. It was like, this is a cruel joke. And I spent 8 years active with the Air Force. Then I did 1 year of reserve duty with the Air Force at Cocoa Beach, Florida, Patrick Air Force Base.
All right,
that's amazing.
That sounds like a pretty badass reserve location.
Yeah, it is. It was pretty sweet.
So, if I'm not mistaken, you got out completely. Air Force, Army, everything.
Civilian.
You are completely out with 18 years in.
Total time. 16 active, 2 reserve guard.
Right. So I get this a lot too, because I got out 14 years in. Mine was much less active duty time. Why? Why get out? Because this is the question that I get all the time. Most of the time, it's like it's
just 4 years. Just 4 more years.
Yeah,
man.
exactly. But you do it.
Yeah, that's what I said. So dick. It's like I equate it to you're right. It is just 4 more years. However, if you're in prison and they open up the doors and they say, hey, you could stay here for 4 more years, or you could get out. It's just 4 years, right? Like
that's true.
It's 4 years of your life that you'll never get back. Yep. And I always said I'll do 20 years, get a retirement, and I get hit by a fucking bus the next day. Like, that's cool, man. Like, if you, like, this whole, like, getting the traditional lifestyle where you have to go to work every day, you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to, like, nah, man. Like, do what you want to do and have fun. And if you're not enjoying your job, don't do it just for another 4 years, man. Like, I was able to get out. I did the things I wanted to do. I never wanted to do anything higher. I was fortunate enough to deploy with, the types of units I deployed with, and was at the top. And so I was cool with that. And I was like, I don't want to do anything else.
Leaving at the top of your game.
I left, and I was to the point where if I stayed in, I probably would have ended up getting kicked out. I would have punched someone. I was very close a few times when people that were of much significant higher rank felt they knew my job better than I knew my job.
Right. And everyone's got their own give a fuck a meter. Mm-hmm. And
mine was pegged, man.
Yeah, you can only take so much. Sometimes it takes, 25 years.
Yeah.
Good for them. You get the pension. Congratulations.
Yeah, that's great.
Sometimes it takes 4. Everyone just maxes out at a certain time, and there just becomes a point where, like you said, like you are more of a detriment than you are an asset, just because you burnt out. You've had enough. You know what I mean?
It's time to start over, and I was happy with that. And it's the same thing is it's like, well, I know that everyone has this really, and for all you military listeners out there, you think you're gonna get out of the military and you're gonna walk in to be a CEO of a company, ain't happening, right? You thank you for your service. However, other people toil in other ways as well. They go to college, they get out, they work their way up, they do things, right? So you have to be prepared to start from the bottom. And I wanted to do that at, 30, 35, as opposed to doing it at 41. And I wanted to jumpstart it because I wanted to set myself up to have a great retirement from this, work harder, and I had opportunities, and I was going to take them.
Good. And brings us to our next one, opportunity, escape for the 22.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say that I'm a part of it, but I feel like I'm the face of it, unofficially.
I think you're the only one that says that, but yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm unofficially the face of it in my own book.
Well, John Demers' book, it's about John Demers.
Yeah, the John Bardowski Demers book of myself. How did this come about? How did you start it? What brought it up, and why hockey?
Okay, it's a fantastic question. We'll take this in 17 parts.
Yeah.
No, it's simple, right? And when it comes down to it, is everything I did in the military, I was focused on a mission, right? Whether that was going through training and graduating, going on a mission, or a school or a deployment or whatever, you're focused on something, right? And you have something, and you're doing it for the greater good. And then when you're a private, your role is, dude, I'm this rifleman, I'm this radio, I'm going to be the best that I can be, and this is my focus. Right. And you become a team leader. Now you have 3 other little, Padawans that are looking to you, and then a squad leader, and then you become an instructor, and you have all these things. You have this mission, you have this mindset. When you get out, you don't have that, because your job is at that point a job. Mm-hmm. When you're in the military, it's not just a job, right? It's an adventure. I think that was the Navy. But,
is that how the recruiter got you?
But it's a life, man, and you have to be. Yeah. When I was in the military, I was reading books in my off time. Books, actually read, and
hold on.
mini leatherbound.
For our younger listeners, what is a book?
A book is a length of paper put together that has words in them that tell stories. But I would read,
it's like an iPad,
sort of.
Okay, but heavier.
But I would read to about the work I was doing. I wanted to be technically proficient as best I could, because it could save your life one day.
Exactly.
But when you get out and you have a job where you can turn off the work phone at 3 or 4 or 5 or whenever it is, and not have to worry about it until 7 a.m. or 8 or 9.
Yeah.
It just stops, and you don't have that. So for me, I had to have a mission, right?
Purpose.
A mission and a purpose, mm-hmm. But mission driven. I needed something I could focus on.
Yep.
Suicide is a struggle in the military that's as old as time, right? Yep. As old as the military is.
Absolutely.
It's been a struggle. It's just never been talked about. There's a couple great documentaries. One of them's on HBO. It's talking about suicide since 1865, since the end of the Civil War, and it documents all these people who committed suicide because they could not find themselves in a position after the military service, whether it was 3 months, 1 year, whatever, because it changes who you are. And I'll be honest, man, combat is a drug.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's the most addictive drug in the world because you cannot replicate it. There's nothing like getting shot at and surviving. And knowing that if I don't do my job, I will die. But if I do my job, that person will die. And that's the ultimate high. And that's why I think you get these guys that get out and they become, base jumpers, and
they're trying to find it.
They're trying to find that rush just for a second. Like coming down off of combat, there's nothing like it. And I think when you do that constantly and over, deployment after deployment after deployment, it just builds up, and then you finally your body shuts down. You can only have so much of that. Your body only can produce. I'm not a scientist here, but I'm just saying I think your body can only handle that for so long. And
so do you think that ever people get numb to it?
Yeah, but I also think that's a problem.
Right.
I think that's a problem. When you're numb to something like that, that's an issue. If you don't recognize it, that's dangerous.
Yeah.
And when I was looking at my own life and the struggles I was having when I was leaving the active Air Force, I was going through a very brutal divorce. I was away from family. I was isolated. I was away from my daughter. I was miserable with my job, which is what I thought I wanted to do for my entire life. And, me taking my own life never came into the equation. But what I was thinking about was maybe if it was better if I wasn't here, or maybe if it was better that I would have been killed in Afghanistan or Iraq or Thailand or wherever, because people would remember me this way as opposed to remembering me this way. And I had a lot of peers and a lot of former soldiers who did end up taking their life. And I started to think about, well, why is that, right? And it's a lack of purpose, a lack of drive. Hockey was not a sport I grew up playing. We didn't have it.
Trust me.
Big. We didn't have it. People are shocked by that.
What?
But I did grow up watching hockey and enjoying the sport itself. As an adult, I found playing hockey replicated the experiences I was having in the military, being in a team-based environment.
We say this a lot too. Like it is such a similar dynamic of a military barracks or a hockey locker room.
Yeah.
Like if I close my eyes and I listen to
Same
people
smells.
talking, same smells, different textures. But if I close my eyes and I was listening to people talking in a hockey locker room, and then I was listening to people talk in barracks, I wouldn't be able to tell you which one is which. Mm-hmm. It's a very, very similar dynamic. Will you ever be able to replicate it completely? No.
I think there's more beer in the barracks probably, but
that's true.
Cheaper
Beer in the barracks, less hookers.
In the locker room?
No, in the barracks.
Okay.
You haven't been to a Cannon's Victor in a long time, have you?
No. But so I was playing hockey. I was paying to play it, and that was what I was looking forward to most of my life at the time. And I figured hockey was something that saved me. So maybe there's a way that it can save others, right? Mm. You can't obviously. And I use this analogy a lot. Is that in battlefield triage, right? You have to realize that you can't save every single casualty. Right. That's the reason we have triage. Because if you waste your time working on someone that's expectant, that's going to die no matter what you do, you're now putting other people in that same category. Yep. So understanding that you can't save everyone, what if I can start with a small group? And that's hockey playing veterans. When I moved from Tampa to Boston, my fiance, who's now my wife and is way smarter than me, had said that, this is what grounds you. This is your thing. This is what we need to find for you here. And it was just, all right, well, maybe I can find enough people that we can put a skate together. And I think going through those first formative months in 2015 with the Skate for the 22, the idea behind it started to snowball, and people grabbed it and were like, it makes sense to them. It may not make sense to anyone else, but it makes sense to them, and they wanted to be a part of it. So you just have to be a part of it. And then to make it, you got to make it. You got to have a want. It's the same thing in podcasting, right? You can't make your 100th podcast if you don't make your first one.
I've tried. The math doesn't check out.
So it's the same thing as if you can't save one if you don't do it. So we put it together, and it's been around 6 years so far. I use the words 400 veteran athletes have played there's probably little less than 300 registered right now, but 400 total have come and gone, and it's a place where people can come, and it's a community of like-minded individuals supporting each other.
But come and gone is probably not the right term, because the doors never close.
Exactly. Come and gone, what I mean is they may have been hurting and missing something in their life. They came and they oriented themselves again, and they got back on their azimuth, and they're trucking along. Yep. And they if they need to come back, boom, they'll pop back in. They'll play a game. They'll go to a skills clinic. They'll come to a scrimmage. Those are all some of the things that we do. Yeah. So it's made to just reorient yourself, get you back on your azimuth and pace count, and get you back out there, making the community at large better by building a better veteran community.
Right. So you just touched on a couple of things. So the things that Skate for the 22 Foundation provides for its veteran athletes, what are they?
Right off the bat, it was a supportive team environment. Okay, and that's what we initially wanted to do, but we realized that in order to do that, you got to attract the community. So just having a team of 13 to 18 individuals is not going to do that. You're helping those ones. But if you have geographically based organizations, if you provide learn to skate programs or skills development programs for people that want to come out and get better or get into the sport themselves, we do that. If you want to just play and have a good time on a Saturday night or a Monday night, we do scrimmages. But if you want to be a little bit more competitive, we do games between the regional-based teams. We also do games between other first responder, military, even civilian organizations, even professional organizations, to include some of the female professional teams that were out there.
Scored a hat trick in that game, by the way.
That was the hardest hit I've ever taken, was in that game.
I saw that.
So it's really building a community, and it's kind of a I don't want to say it's self-serve, but it's a buffet. You can kind of pick and choose what you want. You may not like the General Tso's chicken, but you may love the orange chicken.
That's such a great way to put it. It's just a buffet of hockey. And skills clinics, games, scrimmages, events. What does it cost the veteran athlete?
$0. So that's another critical thing. Hockey is an expensive ass sport, okay, which is probably why my parents gave me a soccer ball, because that's it. And it was just like a garbage bag filled with rocks.
And that's
no, but
I think they were just asking you to take out the trash. You probably misunderstood what they were saying.
But hockey's an expensive sport.
Yeah, for sure.
Even just playing in men's leagues, you're talking I saw a recent post on a Facebook group about like costs of. Some places are paying like $800 for like a 20-game season.
I think it's time to retire.
It's like, or move.
Yeah.
You know? But when you factor in the cost of equipment, okay, and it's say a guy or a girl, because we are co-ed, veterans of both genders, doesn't matter to us, right? Let's say someone played, grown up or in high school, and then they stopped, they joined the military, they've been away for 10, 15 years. Well, their equipment's outdated. If it's not dry rotted, they probably got wooden sticks. Some weirdos still use them. But
the no curve?
Yeah, no curve flat sticks.
Yeah.
So that's a barrier itself. I mean, skates today, you're talking for an adult skate. Luckily, I wear junior skates, so they're a little cheaper. But for an adult pair of skates at an entry level, we're talking $300, $400, or $500. And those entry levels, if you're skating all the time, it's not going to last you that long.
Right.
You're going to have to upgrade those. So if you want a high-end skate, it's $900 to $1,100. That's crazy, and that's just the skates.
Yep.
Now helmets and face masks and gloves and everything you need for that, it's expensive.
Yep.
So whereas we can't provide all that equipment yet, we will try to provide equipment discounts, drop-offs. Work with some hockey companies to help get that out there. So that's what's one barrier we try to help take away. So by at least not having to have our veteran athletes pay for scrimmages or skills clinics or games, we're cutting that cost. So if a person wants to,
takes one burden off.
Absolutely.
For sure.
If realistically, if you look at the schedule, you could skate 4 to 5 times a week when we're in season, doing all kinds of things and not pay for anything.
Yep.
Like that's huge.
Yeah, and for someone who looks forward to, if hockey is their thing, that's what they look forward to. It's keeping people alive, for sure. So we got some big things coming up for the Skate for 22, both on and off ice. Hopefully, if
John Demers bobbleheads.
Yep, bobblehead night I think is October. I think.
Yeah, October 21st.
October 17th. I don't even know my own birthday.
No, but 21st is the number 21.
That's fair. So what is a community and the player athletes and potential players, what do they have to look forward to in the next year?
Well, obviously we had to take a hiatus for COVID. I think it's the year that never was, right?
I don't think it happened.
I think what you can expect for the veteran athlete first and foremost is a little bit back to the roots of the Skate for the 22, where you can get on the ice to meet people and have a shared common experience. We plan on doing that through joint foundation games, joint foundation events. You can also expect a little bit more off-ice type stuff in order to help bring your family to do stuff with you. So you're going to see a cornhole tournament in May. You're going to see a virtual run to end with a in-person 2.2 miler, which will have a band and food afterwards and adult beverages. So you can have that community and provide for each other and also share that with your family, all building up the Skate for the 22. And just getting back to our roots, more scrimmages, more skills clinics, more foundation style events, but still having that competitive edge that I think the veteran athlete does enjoy.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the biggest draws behind, the free hockey is, I get to go out and be competitive again. Because I think that's something that a lot of people miss too, is like, where else can you go with like-minded people and, for a lack of a better term, just beat the shit out of each other for an hour or two and, shake hands afterwards and go grab a beer. Like it's a beautiful thing.
It is. And just to clarify on that, obviously we don't play full contact, right? We're not trying to break anyone, but I think what is important is it's as competitive as you want it to be on the ice. But what is great is that the breakdown of people who, if you're being wicked competitive and a guy's a newer skater, you're not going to be an asshole to that person on the ice, right? You're going to help build them up, which is one of the things I think separates us from other veterans organizations. Is we don't separate by skill level too often. We do, but we tailor it to skill level.
Right.
So we add two high-level skilled guys with a medium skill guy or girl to help build them up, and then we'll pair the lines so that you're helping to improve those people. Because if you don't play, if you continue to play, if you continue to be the best person on the ice, you're never going to get better. Right? You have to.
I got nowhere to go then.
You have to put yourself out there and put yourself at risk and to be embarrassed on the ice. It's how you get better. I'm a perfect example of that. I
embarrass you every time I play against you.
It is true, not true.
All right, so if people want to go check out the Skate for the 22, see what it's all about, possibly donate, where can they do that?
Website, skateforthe22.org.
All right, that'll be attached to the bottom of this on the episode description. It's also, we'll post it up in the big screen in a little bit as well.
And if you just Google Skate for the 22,
it's the first thing that pops up. Take
a look at some of the articles too that have been written about us from, again, people that are a lot smarter than me, who've seen that this is a valid valid form of therapy, because you're helping people cope, you're giving them an outlet to do that, and you're making them sweat, which is always good.
What else can you ask for, right? Perfect. Thanks for going through all that with us.
Absolutely. I'm always glad to be able to put it out there. It's important. We talk about suicide prevention, and we're not the only ones doing things. There's lots of them. Find your niche. If hockey's not your niche, find a running group. I know a guy that has rugby that does kind of the same stuff with rugby in New England. Just find what makes you a better person. But
the biggest thing, just put yourself out there. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Who knows?
Yeah.
You could like it.
You could love it.
Could love it. All right, so we're gonna get into some stories now. Next, boom. Boot camp battles. So this is where we're gonna go over a couple stories from people's times in their respective basic trainings or boot camps, and we'll just
summer camps, what we call it in the Air Force.
Is that what it is? Yeah, you just go away, sleepaway camp.
Yeah.
How often did you get to write your mom?
In between selling cookies.
Okay.
Sell cookies at the PX.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good for you guys. I never bought those cookies. I never trusted you guys. All right, well, we just get right into the first one. All right, so two guys were caught fighting after lights out. DS, drill sergeant, runs upstairs, grabs the two guys, and drags them downstairs. The next morning, the two guys look worn and ragged, but seem to be in good spirits and seem to now be good buddies. Apparently, the DS made them hug each other, look into each other's eyes, and say I love you to each other nonstop for the whole night. So, I remember basic training, there was one time that two guys were about to fight. It was at, I think, one of our rifle qual ranges. And the drill sergeant and I said, all right, fucking you and you, come here. And he took him to the wood line. And I thought they fought. Apparently, were they just spooning for about 15, 20 minutes?
The old wood line.
So, I mean, it's no secret you're a little bit more seasoned than I am as far as age goes.
Mm-hmm. Like a fine wine.
You went to basic training late 90s.
Correct.
Anything like this ever happen?
Yes. So I have a former soldier of mine that is now a drill sergeant at Fort Benning, and I was very upset because I asked him if they still use the bayonet assault course, and they don't.
Why?
But I don't know, because it's weaker.
How does the green grass grow?
Exactly. Blood.
Yeah, well, there's no blood, so it's not going to grow.
We had, I don't know if they still do it, but we had the pugil sticks.
Is it pugil or pugil?
I think it's pugil, like a pugilist.
Is that French?
I believe so, but isn't a pugilist a fighter, a boxer?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, anyway. So
I wouldn't trust my pronunciation.
Have you seen Young Guns? When I'm a pugilist. And
no.
Okay. Wow. That was also in the '90s. But so we had the pugil sticks, and you were able to beat the shit out of each other with two giant Q-tips.
We had those. Yeah.
Did you use them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So I think drill sergeants would pair people off they knew had tension in those, and then watch. And they'd let them go.
And just,
and
nice.
And so I had an MOS, an 11 series MOS infantry. So we didn't have a break between basic and
right, just all one way
straight. It's called
yep.
OSIT, one station unit training, right? Go straight through. And then there was a lot of tension. And I think there were individuals that were paired off that had black eyes the next day. And it was never the drill sergeants that hit them. It was each other.
They're so diabolical.
Yeah.
Drill sergeant's like what, a 10-week course?
I think it's longer.
Is
maybe it's like I guess 3 months maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, so 10 to 12 week course. I feel like 80% of it has to just be like psychological warfare that they're being taught. Because I mean, now, especially nowadays, because they can't beat the shit out of you anymore.
Yeah.
So they have to just
dominance.
Yeah, they just have to establish dominance with their words, and let other people do it for them. I guess like
still the fear of God in them.
Pretty much, yeah.
I mean, I think the Marines do that really well with their boot camp and their drill sergeants. But yeah, I was afraid of my drill sergeants. What's funny is one of my drill sergeants ended up being a platoon sergeant for me later.
How'd that work out?
When I was in E5, I had already been in the Army a while. It was fine. They're completely different people when they're out in the real world. But yeah, it was an interesting experience.
That's good. That's good. I had my head drill sergeant, Osario. I'll never forget him because he always yelled at you, but whenever he started yelling, his accent kicked in like
I was going to say with that name,
yeah,
probably
and
has a little Latin
you wanted to do exactly what he said, but you just had no fucking idea what he was saying. Yeah.
Did you ever laugh when a drill sergeant yelled at somebody else, and then they heard you laugh, and then they yelled at you?
No, but we were in the later phases. We were probably just a couple weeks from graduating, and our drill sergeant was telling us his max for his push-ups, and I'm an idiot, so I was like, that's it? I think it was like an hour smoke session that we all got.
Nice. Yeah. All smoke sessions.
Yeah, it wasn't really, corporal punishment.
Yeah.
That's how you teach them.
Mm-hmm.
All right, on to the next.
Do it.
This is a good one. Okay. So I shit my pants halfway through a 6-mile hike.
You know it's good. It starts off the so I shit my
First
pants.
sentence, I shit my pants. When we got back, the drill instructor screamed, "Which one of you fuckers shit themselves?" and a little piece of poop rolled out of my trousers. He told me to report to the senior drill instructor, so I did and told him. It was the first time I got to take a shower without a bunch of naked dudes, so it was worth it. Was it worth it?
I don't think so.
No?
Later on in my career, I did some, work with survival and evasion, resistance and escape stuff. And that's always one of the techniques they teach you to make yourself less attractive to
shit on yourself?
everyone. Yeah, make yourself less attractive. And I guess that way it keeps people away from you. They're like, I'm not even messing with that person.
I feel like there had to have been like a group of officers in a boardroom when they were going over like how to teach people to survive.
Right.
And there was one NCO in the room who was like, just fucking shit on yourself. No one will want to touch you then.
Well, see, it's like in captivity.
They took him serious.
They're like, write that down. But I guess maybe that's the same technique. Like drill sergeants will leave me alone if I stink.
Well, maybe
it's human nature. I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah. I just picture like he just like kicks it out a little bit.
Yeah, because
it wasn't me, and then just.
Because those liners and the PT shorts are like pretty tight on the inside.
Yeah, but I mean, I would say they're on a Ruck March, so he's.
Was it a guy? Okay,
well,
okay.
Unless there's co-ed showers nowadays.
Starship Troopers.
That's true.
I tried to stand for those days, but it just
never came. So I'm assuming it was hot because everywhere this basic training house, it's fucking
literally everywhere.
scorching.
Even if it's
so
Alaska,
probably
it's hot.
Heat Cat 5 where they had everything unbloused and like a little poop.
Yeah, little roll.
And how much shit was it that they found out about it during the hike, or the Ruck March?
Yeah.
And, like, how much shit was on the ground where they noticed it, and then there was still some poop left in his trousers?
I don't even. So I was trying to think about this. I mean, obviously it was like 20 plus years ago, but I don't even remember shitting in basic training. Can't remember taking shit in basic training because it was like always so busy. I'm trying to think like when I did. Like,
yeah,
I get, you know what I mean? Because it's like you have these memories of things, and they're like, oh, I remember waking up, I remember doing PT, but I don't remember like taking a shit. Maybe that's why I enjoy taking shits now. And
just sitting there for like, 25 minutes, like, and been done for about 17 of them. Yeah. I remember one shit in basic, and it was our first day of our final FTX, and they had all the porta shitters lined up, and there was some new ones, and then some of those old white ones from, I don't know.
Valley Forge.
Yeah.
The Revolutionary War.
I'm pretty sure George Washington's shit was still in this exact.
Well, it's part of the museum. It's no, not that one. That one's heritage.
I think I shit in a museum exhibit is what I did. The thing, honestly, it hadn't been empty for like years. Mm-hmm. There was poo almost touching my butt when I sat down. Nice. Like I had to pee in the urinal first and then just hold it up.
Because you would have flooded. That would have been unreleased. Interesting.
I feel like everyone's got a good shit story.
Oh, I've got a good one.
Let's hear it.
All right, let's make this one quick because I know we got real or fake.
Take your time, man. We got all the time in the world.
Afghanistan, 2005-ish, 2006. We lived way out in the mountains in a house. One day they dropped us off after a patrol, and they're like, "Yeah, you guys are we're leaving. You guys are gonna stay here and make this your home." We're like, okay. So we didn't have anything. So they just kind of would slowly fly stuff out to us, and they're like drop stuff off out of the Chinook, and they'd be like, "Okay, see you guys later," and like adding stuff to it. And one day we got food, and then one day
was it the Air Force that dropped it off while you were in the Army?
No, it was the Army.
That was another one. You're like, fuck, I could be them.
No, we did. The Air Force did drop pallets with cargo chutes that usually landed on people's houses and crush walls. And
nice, perfect.
But
way to win hearts and minds.
We had to burn our own feces. We had to piss in tubes that our medic had to dig into the ground and layer them. It's like old school, like layering, like filtration
system.
Do they
teach that at medical school?
They do, actually. Nice. It's part of the Army medical course, field sanitation and hygiene. There's an actual field manual just for that. But one day, the Chinook lands, the dust clears, and these two crew chiefs are shoving a porta potty off the back of the Chinook. And we're like, okay, but listen, you realize this is not gonna. It's gonna feel so we would have to have these giant boxes of trash bags sent out, like the brown military trash bags, and we put the porta shitter in a part of the compound, had it walled off, and you would go put the bag inside the porta shitter and then shit in the bag, so you had an actual bathroom, and then you go throw it in the burn pit. And so we had some visitors one day. It was our brigade sergeant major, because they used to like they would leave. The brigade sergeant major always have to follow around the brigade commander, and like he would like go out and visit the troops by himself.
Yeah.
With the boys.
Of course.
Because we're eating our own food out there.
We're the same, guys.
Yeah. But so my platoon sergeant gets all of us together one morning and starts screaming at the platoon. He's like, "Who is the asshole that shit in the porta potty and did not use a bag?
New guy?
You son!" And all of a sudden, like, the brigade sergeant major looks down. He's like, "That was me. I thought it was really clean." I was impressed how clean it was. I'm so sorry. I didn't realize.
He was about to have a whole fucking speech about how clean the porta
potty was. So he's like, "You got a shovel? I'll take care of that." So the brigade sergeant major had to go scoop his own shit out of a porta potty into a bag and then go burn it.
Man.
So everyone has a shit story.
Everyone does have a shit story. Well,
he was a cool dude though. He was good. He was actually a really good guy.
Well, how can you be a hard ass when you after that, you know? you can't shovel your own shit out of a porta potty.
But then the platoon sergeant's like, "Okay, all right, sergeant major, here's a shovel."
How do you even get that angle? Like, I feel like it'd just be easier to put the bag on your hand and
listen.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm getting too far into it.
Yeah, I wasn't technically watching him remove it. I just knew
you weren't there
I was
to
laughing.
Supervise. That's good. That was good.
Just a poor shitter coming off of a Chinook. You're like, seriously?
Nope. Nope.
Take it back.
Why don't you just... I don't know. All right. That was great. We're going to go to our next segment now. It's called Real or Fake.
Fake.
Okay. I'm super creative with the names. So basically it's what it sounds like. I got a few news articles that I'm going to go over, and I want you to tell me if you think it is real or fake by the headline, and then we'll go over the story itself, and we'll see if you are correct. Okay?
Send it.
Okay. So, as you see, the first one, North Korea may have its own corps of communist killer dolphins.
I'm going to say take the may out of that, and 100% true.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Fucking got me there. That's 100%. That's 100% true.
Awesome. Good on them.
So the article the article goes on to say Iran and North Korea may have more in common than we once thought.
Axis of evil.
They are both members of President George W. Bush's Axis of Evil. Have you seen this article?
No, I just know.
And both have sought nuclear weapons with different degrees of success. But now, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea may have caught up to the Islamic Republic in one critical area. Critical, they say. Trained killer dolphins. So my question is, if trained killer dolphins is critical to their success as a military, what do we have as a military?
How do you know
that
we don't?
Do you think it'd be dolphins? They're probably the smartest fish, right?
They kill sharks, man.
They do kill sharks.
Yeah.
Which
it's a bad mofo in the water. Which again, they should be Navy dolphins, not Navy SEALs. But I mean, SEALs are cute.
Interrupt, John, but read on, because they're saying that they're joining, like, the group, including the U.S. that has.
Oh shit!
Already.
All right,
it's
cool.
Pretty intense. I'm just looking for my
So these creatures are not only trained to seek out underwater mines, but they also attack enemy frogmen who infiltrate harbors. So they also have reportedly used them with suicide tactics. So they have kamikaze dolphins.
Those North Koreans, man.
Which is,
I feel like Team
great,
America
man.
really messed up on that. They should have had that in the movie.
That's so great. I don't even know what to say about it. That it's true, and that it's more than one place in the world has that in the military.
Oh yeah.
Okay. We're gonna go on to the next one. And story number 2. Rank is just a number. What do you think?
Rank is just a number.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. I'm going to say false.
2 for 2. Ready? All right. This one,
That's Air Force. I like it.
Duffel Blog is awesome.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. This has some of the best quotes I've ever read on an official document. So a staff non-commissioned officer in a rank gap relationship with a female service member is telling friends that he believes rank is just a number. So an Air Force E8 insists that his romantic partnership with... is it still airman, even though they're a woman?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it was. I don't know.
Who
if
knows?
It is now.
It's air person now, probably.
Just air.
She was an E2. It's just air. Hey, you. She was an E2. He says it's not questionable at all. He goes, people keep giving us funny looks when they see us at the BX in uniform together. What they need to understand is we're just two consenting enlisted persons who enjoy each other's company. One of the best ones. It goes, it doesn't hurt. She's very mature for her rank. He said she reads at a E5 level.
Nice.
So
nice.
I just added that myself. But we see it, you honestly see that all the time, though.
Yeah.
Not to that, obviously.
You did it well. Having been in two services, so in the Army, I was around 100% just dudes at the time because there was nothing integrated, and we lived on the other side of base from the normal people. Like, we were just savages. They could not.
Yeah. Steer clear of that.
Yeah.
You're like the
savages.
elephant graveyard. And
Yeah.
It's like Simba's like, don't
see
go
that
over
over there?
Yeah.
Don't go over there.
Yeah.
And but in the Air Force, I did see it all the time. Almost everything was integrated. And even like the combat jobs in the Air Force, you would still have females in the squadrons doing, like, finance and life support and all that stuff. And it's like, it's just so much more accessible for people to have.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you can't, especially on deployments, you can't expect people not to be hooking up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean. This guy gets it. Okay, last quote of this one is guy goes, but come on now, the guy is almost my rank. He was a master sergeant talking about this guy. And he goes, plus she's easily a 9 and he looks like a goddamn ogre. How the hell did he score her? So do you think that he used his rank
it depends
to score her?
It depends if they're in the same job. If
they're
that's
not in the
his
same
supervisor.
chain of command.
Oh, so no. I mean, he's just he gets a bigger BAH.
He's probably got a fucking hog, huh?
Yeah, he's probably got a nice car. She's living in the barracks.
That's true.
Or the dorms in the Air Force. Sorry.
He probably got like a good APR on his car too, not like the privates that get like the 23%. He's probably got like a nice 4.9%
It's definitely
APR.
It's definitely through USAA.
Of course.
Or Navy
He
Federal
bundled
Credit.
his home in auto.
Or Navy Federal Credit.
Of course.
He got the
Like
money
a
he wanted.
sensible older gentleman.
Yeah.
That
I feel like that now that you're putting it in that category, like an E8, it's definitely like the college professor with like the tweed jacket with the leather patches. That's like going after like the freshmen.
Yeah.
Like
that's
smoking
true.
a pipe. Like
Some fresh meat. Indeed.
It's really, really, worldly, and that's really attracted to the. Attracting.
Now that we talk it out, I can see why. She went for it.
Yeah. I'm going
It's a sensible choice.
It's a sensible choice.
Yeah, she's new.
He's got a 5-year plan.
Got to advance the career. What is it? Don't die. Anyways, next story.
Oh.
Polish soldiers accidentally invade Czechoslovakia.
I'm gonna say the borders match up. So yeah, let's go true on that one.
You are so good at this.
That's just it's true. 100% true.
Like, you didn't.
Did not read. Did not study ahead. No clip notes. Nothing.
Okay. So you'd be forgiven for not knowing that the Polish military recently invaded and briefly occupied territory of the Czech Republic.
My bad.
Apparently no need to forgive. You already knew. So Polish soldiers mistakenly deterred our citizens from entering a church on the Czech territory in close vicinity of the Czech-Polish borders. Poland already gets a pretty bad rep.
Been there. Nice people.
Why do they get such a bad rep?
I don't know. I had a really nice time in Poland. Very nice people. Very good stuff.
Did they prevent you from going to church?
No. I was only around the Polish military, so that they might have prevented other people from going to church.
You were over there guarding a church. You had no idea what you were doing.
Yeah,
Okay,
come
you're
to think
here.
of it, I think they let me go in while they wouldn't let other people. It was weird. I had a great time. Great beer.
Yeah.
The Czech Republic too. Been there. Been with their military. Good beer. It's the original Budweiser. It comes from the Czech
That's
Republic.
true. That's true. Now it's all
Good
watered
Pilsner.
down
Yeah.
piss.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, what else do you say, man? They
I feel like that's
accidentally cross borders.
I feel like
during
that's
an
like
exercise.
going to New Hampshire. Like just like whoops, now we're in here. Like our bad.
Yeah,
Like,
but you don't go to New Hampshire and then prevent people from going to their church, do you?
I don't know.
I mean, I'm sure it happens, but I wouldn't think that it's something that happens often. But who knows?
Never know.
All right,
That was a great segment. Boom.
last one. The Army holds safety stand down to address the dangers of drinking antifreeze.
I'm gonna say true.
I'm so glad I got you on this one because it's false.
If not, they should.
It's fake. But
Don't care about
that's
their
the
people?
exact same thing when I was reading. I was like, this has to be real, but
Don't
it's
care
not.
about their people. Why wouldn't they?
Yeah. Yeah. There has been times I was maintenance where people have a Powerade bottle or a Gatorade bottle, and people put a little antifreeze in there to if I can joke on Jimmy or whatever his name was at the time. Unsafe.
Horribly unsafe. But again,
Unsafe.
you're thinking about maybe not the brightest of people that just join the military. Hey, I'm really happy that people do join the military, but sometimes people join the military because they got nothing else going on.
Yeah.
And I've known stories of people drinking Simple Green because it's 100% organic.
Extreme Simple Green is better for the environment.
Yeah,
believe it or not.
but you know what I mean? Like, just because something's made out of organic doesn't mean it's safe to drink. And,
Well, I ate poison ivy because it comes from the earth, and I don't
there you
understand
go.
why I'm not
I
feeling too
smoked
well.
it, and it's like an herb, right? Same
Yeah,
kind
it's
of
the
thing,
same.
no?
It's the same exact thing.
Well, if not, the Army needs to start having these because, come on, they don't care about their troops, obviously.
Yeah, no, they don't. They're going to start dropping like flies
I'm gonna have
if
to
they
write
don't start
somebody.
having this shit. So the article says the Pentagon has mandated an Army-wide safety stand down. Army-wide, by the way. This isn't just post. No, it's not just like a certain,
Well,
base.
you can't just do it in one base.
That's true.
Troops all over the world.
Army-wide safety stand down to address the dangers of casual antifreeze consumption.
Like on a
We haven't seen
Sunday
a crisis.
afternoon.
Hey, Martha, dear, can you pour me a nice glass of antifreeze, please?
Sunday scaries. Nice little antifreeze will just smooth that right out.
I mean, it'll smooth something out. I don't know if it's something that you want smoothed out. So it says we haven't seen a crisis of this magnitude since our last global stand down back in '08 to train soldiers on the dangers of sticking their hands in fans to make their voices sound funny. We are lucky we caught this before it escalated to the level of autoerotic asphyxiation stand down back in the '80s. So that
Duffel blog again, I'm assuming.
it is, but if that was just like a quote on Google or whatever, I would think that
That's
it
official.
could be real. Yeah.
Yep.
That's the shit that you see sometimes.
Well, it's the shit that that's why I thought it was real because that's something the Army would do because there is somebody that would be doing that in
Yeah.
the Army. They're like, kids ate Tide Pods.
yeah,
so-
for a while.
So, what's to say Joe, who, for those of you that are not military listening, Joe is the term for all
Yes.
young soldiers.
Yes.
And what's to stop Joe from just, I'm going to drink a little bit of this antifreeze? I mean, I
Yeah.
drank mouthwash in Bosnia to get drunk. So, like,
That's true.
come on. Like, it's a little antifreeze, right?
Yeah. Safety message, guys. It doesn't get you drunk. So. It doesn't taste good either.
It doesn't taste good.
Also burns the
Let's
eyes.
put it that way.
But yeah, I don't know. It's just
3 for 1.
that's pretty good. I mean, it's not 100.
It's not bad. Nope. Not 100%.
You went from 100 to 75 real quick.
Well, 75 still passing.
That's true.
Sometimes.
That's my motto. Unless it's an 80. Which is another thing that the Army does. Oh, remember how you say you have to get a 70?
Yeah.
Now it's an 80.
Yeah, it's an 80.
But yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, that was good.
That was a good one. So,
Dolphins.
Dolphins, don't drink antifreeze. don't invade other countries by accident.
Yep. And rank is not just a number.
The rank is just a number.
Fraternization's real.
It's real awesome, is what it is. Okay, so I asked you to have a story ready, and when you told me what this story was about, I was in Lowe's buying things.
Which is what one does at Lowe's. Siri
read it through my AirPod, and I laughed out loud just at the title of it. I'm excited for you to get into it. Okay. So
it actually deals a little bit about fraternization too.
Oh, perfect. That makes it even better.
Yeah. So you asked me, and I was like, "What genre?" First of all, and I was like,
Yep.
"What? Funny, sad, dramatic? What?" And you said, "Dealer's choice." So I haven't told this one too often to a lot of people, but I was stabbed on deployment. This was a pre-9/11 deployment to the former Yugoslavia as a peacekeeper.
Stab. I'll let you get into it.
Yep. I was stabbed by the knife blade of a Leatherman in the back of the leg, just below the ass cheek crease.
How? What was it? Mini-me stabbing you? Like,
okay.
Did you get a midget upset?
This is quite funny. I mean, it wasn't at the time. However, so we had been in Bosnia for a while. We were rotating 3 places for the platoon. So one platoon would do this, and every month we'd change different locations. So we were the guard force. We weren't the guard force for the I think it was Eagle Base or Warrior Base, which was where the helicopters were stationed in Bosnia. But we would run the guard force. So like all the rest of the pogues that were on base would provide the guards, but our sergeants would run the guard force and would bring them chow. And we were like a quick reaction force if in case something happened. So we were doing what good soldiers do and doing continuation training, right? Because sergeants say, "You got downtime, we're going to train." So we were.
That's the worst.
Yeah, it is. You're like, I just want to do this.
Yeah, let me jerk off for a minute, dude. Come on.
For a second. And this was in the wintertime. There was snow on the ground, and we were living in these. They were these like plywood buildings, but it was one big building that was separated into like 5 different rooms, and each room was a long room where you could fit a squad in. It had doors on each side, so it was like we had our cots, and then we had like a common area, and we were training, and we were doing enemy prisoner of war search training. So like the roll the guy over, flex cuffs, all these kinds of things, and we were taking turns and rolling, doing all this stuff, and I was flex cuffed. So I had my hands and feet flex cuffed, and the training was over, and one of my squad mates was cutting the flex cuffs off my ankles. I was on my knees. I'd already taken
of course,
as is tradition. So I had the flex cuffs already off my hands, and he was cutting them off my feet. Why I didn't do it myself, I don't know. But anyway, so I'm on my knees. He's behind with the knife cutting, and he's cutting down. And this sergeant says, "You idiot, you're going to cut into his boot. Cut up."
So you can cut into his anus.
So
that makes more sense.
So he put the full blade of the knife behind the flex cuff and lifted. And it was new because they had a good PX, so people bought stuff. And he bought his new Leatherman. And it went through the flex cuff like butter and went 2 inches into my back leg. And it was so sharp, I didn't feel it. All I know was, whoa! And they were all like,
whoa.
Oh! And
did I just get runny diarrhea? Why do I feel like coming down my leg?
And then it was immediately, they had that look like you have with your siblings, like, don't tell mom I just did that. And they're like, dude, you're fine. Don't tell the squad.
Don't cry.
You're good. You're good. Oh, fuck. You're fine. You're fine. And I was like, dude, oh, man. And immediately blood started. My pants had been unbloused, so blood was pouring down now. And they were like, oh, shit. And it filled up my BDU pants. I still never felt it. It was so sharp that it just went in and then came right out. So my team leader.
It's a good knife.
Yeah. Shout out Leatherman. So my team leader at the time was a bigger dude. He grabs me, picks me up fireman's carry. So again, we're all infantry dudes. We're like, apply direct pressure, stop the bleeding, bandage. Nope. Picks me up and is going to fireman's carry me the 3/4 of a mile to the aid station. So 3/4 of a mile, I'm bleeding, leaving
Out
a
of your
blood
butt.
trail. Leaving a blood trail. I'm starting to get kind of woozy at this time too. So there's a blood trail in the snow, and the rest of the squad guys are running with him, and he's got me, and he's carrying me, and it was a nighttime, so no one's in the aid station. It's not really a busy place, right?
Yeah.
So they kick down the door of the aid station, and it's a female physician's assistant and
Jackpot.
entirely female staff of medics.
Drop trow.
So they throw me on a surgical litter, and they proceed to cut my BDU trousers off. Well, I was commando.
Well, obviously.
Never wore underwear in BDU. So I am now buck naked from the waist down, just a brown t-shirt up.
Well, they would have had to cut your underwear anyway, so.
Exactly.
You just saved a pair of underwear.
All females, right?
Yep.
And I'm face down on a surgical litter.
How often did you tell them how cold it was in the
Yeah,
room?
well, no, okay, it gets better, right?
Okay.
So any wounds, right? You have to irrigate the wound.
Yep.
So now they're squirting saline into that wound, and it's just running right down my ass crack, right into my junk, right?
Right into your
And
boys.
so I'm laying there as this is all happening, and all of a sudden I see picture flashes, camera flashes.
Was it from the people who brought you?
Nope.
From your section? It was.
Nope.
So this is one of those, I feel like, scenarios where you see, where they have posters of the blown up hand, and they're like, "Don't use your 50 cal round as a hammer."
Yeah.
And
I don't think that was the case.
I know you're hurting, buddy, but we have to take this picture so it won't happen again.
So then the next part of it is, so it's cold in there, obviously. I've got nothing on.
Sure it was.
It's the winter. And so then the female physician's assistant says, okay, didn't do any muscle damage, didn't do anything, after she's prying around in there. And she's like, looks at my teammates, and my team leader says, hey, any of you guys want to suture it up?
What the fuck?
So then she allowed my team leader to suture it up. And the fraternization part of it goes, is that same night, after we were off of the sergeant's time training, I was supposed to go hook up with one of the girls I had met on guard duty. So then the next day, she comes into the guard duty tent and was all pissed off that I blew her off. And
Yeah.
all my friends were like, no, he got stabbed.
Yeah.
No,
You
it's cool. He got
stabbed in the
stabbed.
butthole.
And she's
Yeah.
like, yeah, whatever. And I was like, no, literally, he got stabbed. And it was just this thing. So, yeah, I got stabbed in Bosnia.
Silver linings. I have a couple. First one, your boots were fine,
They had blood in them,
but they weren't cut.
but they weren't cut.
Okay, so whoever
That
told them to
sergeant
cut
was
up,
correct.
He was correct.
He would have cut into my boot.
Right.
Which is
and I'm
good.
sure he hung his hat on that for a long time. He's like, well, your fucking boots are great, so I don't know what you're complaining about. Second one, you probably saved yourself with that potential fraternization.
Well, yeah, we were both E3s, so it would have canceled each other out. It's like a double negative.
Yeah. But I've been there, and
Yeah.
I've done the sex in the bunkers. Great at the time.
See, this is the thing. The females had their own rooms on deployment.
Oh,
on this deployment, it was like
Yeah, I did it. I did it in a piss-covered bunker.
the bunker.
Yeah, it was the most romantic thing I've ever done in my
Nice.
life. Yeah,
Nice.
I think she stuck a finger in my butt.
Oh.
Anyways,
Just got weird.
it can get weird though. Like it can
like
get
it, like it.
It can get weird.
Yeah. So that was. Yeah,
That's great.
Yeah. And when it gets cold, I feel that. No, I'm just kidding.
When
feel
the
that
rain's
old
coming,
wound.
when the rain's coming,
Feel that old wound.
my ass cheek
war
tightens
wound.
up.
It's that $1 million wound Boris Gump was talking about.
That's
Something
what it is,
Jumped
yeah.
up and bit me.
Something bet me. That's fantastic because, like, that's. Do I have a lot of people heard that story? Like, that's
really. It's
right. That's what I'm saying. Like,
it got
it's,
so overshadowed with all the other dumb shit I did.
Exactly, because it's not really a story.
Doesn't come out in a lot of conversation. I do have a picture from that surgical tent. I don't have the
Put it up.
I don't have the rear. I don't have the rear facing one, but like I have a picture from. They took a couple different angles.
Did they ever tell you why they were taking the pictures?
Nope. I think they were just excited to have a real patient.
They were probably going to rub one in later.
Not giving, like, medicine for sniffles. They had a real patient that was bleeding.
Yeah.
Like, it's go time, people. We've trained 8 weeks for this.
They paid off the dude who was cutting it. He was like, just fucking cut him. Just cut him. I'm so bored.
Yeah.
Hey, job security.
Yeah.
Right?
That dumb grunts will provide job security for medics.
How did the stitches come out?
It's fact.
Considering how they didn't even do them.
I've never been able to see the scar.
Oh, you know.
So, I mean,
I was always wondering what that scar was.
My pain is your gain.
See, it's always better when it's someone else's ass that's getting cut up. That's what I always say.
I always say that.
Yeah, if it's gonna be a stab in the ass, it better be someone else.
I've said it one time. I've said it 30.
Exactly. That's what I tell my daughter every night before she goes to bed. So we're gonna do our last segment. It's called Mail Call.
Nice.
So this is where we actually read the stories that are sent in from the listeners. So each week we're going to read and react to the stories that you guys send in. And you can use the link in the description of this video to submit your stories and get it read on the show. So this story, buddy of mine, he's a Marine. It's not going to sound like it. Really good guy. But I feel like the whole crayon eating thing might be based on him.
Okay.
Great guy. Great guy. All right, there we go. One day before I deployed for my first tour to Afghanistan, my friends and I decided to go balls to the wall. Faded as fuck, going out with a bang. We're at a club right outside of base, and one of my buddies gets my attention while I'm dancing my hard dick all over these drunk bitches, and he asked for some help. At first I wanted to smack him, but then he said his chick was leaving with some dude. So I drop the bitch and go outside and see it's a wannabe blood. Man, when he said he was a blood, I nearly ripped his head off, and he ran away into the night like a straight Mick bitch. Then I'm walking back and see two blonde bitches walking, and I shout, "Yo, girl, let me pee in that butt."
Classy, dude.
As one does. And they turned around saying they're cops and they're undercover, which is a bananas way to be an undercover cop. Like, I feel not a cop, so I'm speaking off of no experience whatsoever, but I feel like when you're undercover,
You don't
first rule is don't tell people you're undercover.
First rule of Fight Club.
Okay.
Don't talk about it.
I feel like that's just bad dad advice.
Yeah.
You know, his daughter's going out to a club, like maybe for the first time.
Just tell him you're a cop.
Hey, someone tries fucking with you, tell him you're a cop. Okay, Dad. Terrible advice.
We'll see. Did it work?
I guess we'll find out. So they said they're undercover, and I said, "Oh yeah, we are too." See, it's just so easy to say it. And she started screaming for the security guards, which again, of course, if you're an undercover cop, I would get security guards. So I say, "Fuck you, bitch," and I keep walking away, and that's when I turn back and see a security guard running at me full force. God, what a great sight. He swung slow as fuck, and I dodged it and dropped him and looked up and see about 8 security guards started running at me. My Marine buddies were already run into the truck because they were clearly outnumbered. Not me, though. I ran straight towards the fight, swinging with everything I got. I got knocked down. Now I'm getting kicked from all directions, and I hear this voice screaming and laughing, saying, "I'm going to jail," and I just got a little edge, and I stood up, knocked her out, and dropped one of the security guards. My friends can even say most of them were bloody, and I just had knots all over my head and some bruises. So yeah, that's
interesting story.
That's interesting's a word for it, for sure. But first deployment, you know, you really have no idea what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to make last couple nights stateside memorable, I guess.
Yeah, you want to get it all out, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So I guess ask a girl if you can pee in her butt, right?
I've never.
Hey,
never,
1 + 1 = 2 in my book.
I've never tried that one. Never tried that pickup line.
No.
I don't see. It's probably not part of my repertoire. I don't know if that's gonna be.
I feel like you got to be able to pull it off.
Yeah. I mean,
You have to be confident. You feel like
that's definitely some confidence.
You can't just be like, hey,
But
excuse me, miss.
What
can
do you think he was drinking to get to that level? Like what? Because that's just not a beer drunk.
That's a vodka Red Bull drunk.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I've been there. I also think that might be a Jack and Coke
Ooh.
drunk.
Okay.
That's seems to be a little bit more probably Marine style. I'm not
Even the young guns.
pigeonhole. Yeah, maybe Jack and Coke. It's easy to go to.
That's true.
Depends on when this was. I don't know. I obviously don't know. I'm not trying to say I know the person, so I don't know. But you never know on the dates. So
Yeah.
Jack and Coke or.
I feel like I ordered that
Beam
a
and-
lot when I first turned 21
Beam and
because
Cola.
that's all I knew.
Well, that's like what. It's like your.
I
Like,
just
I'll have a cocktail.
The first
Jack
brown
and Coke,
alcohol
please?
I saw,
Yeah.
I was like that and Coca-Cola.
yeah, you're like, well, obviously, if I'm drinking a Jack and Coke, I'm 21. Come on.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Come on, buddy.
So yeah, so I was curious, what drink led him to that? Because I've seen guys at this level, and it's a progression. You start in the barracks with some beers, and then someone's got a liter bottle,
Liter cola?
liter bottle of. No, you need the cola for that.
Okay.
But the larger bottles of Jack Daniel's in their freezer, and you start going, and then you just I've seen that route.
All right, buddy. So if let us know what you were drinking.
you were
We're
drinking.
curious
He's curious.
what it was.
Yeah, definitely not a route I would have taken, but yeah.
So, before I got deployed, see, I started the marriage and kids thing young. So I was married with a kid when I was 20, like a fucking idiot, just like a stupid dumbhead.
Mhm.
So I didn't.
Which is not
My-
uncommon for the military.
Right, that's
It's fairly common.
different
actually.
story for another day. So my last few days, like I was just hanging out with my kid, and my wife at the time, which is another common thing in the military, divorces. But hey,
Check mark. Yep.
what are you gonna do? Yep, I got all the check marks.
Divorce, bad credit, DD 214. Trifecta.
So I didn't have this opportunity for shenanigans, because like I wasn't gonna get divorced before I went. I still wanted the BAH. You know what I mean? The family SEP pay. Your first deployment? How old before?
Bosnia was my first
Bosnia.
deployment. I was 19, turning 20.
But it's different though, right? Because Bosnia, was that considered a combat deployment?
It was. There was
Okay.
nothing else going on.
Okay.
It was a peacekeeping mission, but
Mhm.
you were getting hazardous fire pay.
Mhm.
There were still dangers because this is one of the most heavily mined countries in the world. You're out on patrol. You had live ammo, but it was the only thing going on in the time, which is why I actually ended up at that unit. When I went to the recruiter, I was like, "Which unit deploys?" And they're like, "Oh, 10th Mountain." At the time,
Cool.
because this is
Send me over.
yeah, this is what 7 years after Mogadishu, so like that had been the combat,
Mhm.
and everyone's like, "Oh." So I went 10th Mountain, we deployed, and it was in hindsight, nothing was ever going to happen in Bosnia because the big stick of NATO overpowers the little warring factions, and we got we had barracks parties beforehand, and it was like the big thing because you're going away for 7 months.
Right.
So.
Yeah. So I just feel like that is a time if you're gonna. For me, it's hard to describe the dynamic of barracks life and being a young private, like E1 to E4 in the barracks. It's basically like giving children money.
It's a frat house with money.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, frat house
disposable
with
income.
money. Which I didn't.
Not a
even-
lot of money.
Not a lot, but enough of your basic needs are taken care of to where that little bit of money can go a long way into
Absolutely. Free food. So all you got to
into
spend your money on is
getting
booze and
kicked by 8 security guards.
exactly. Yeah. I'm grateful that I was single, up until I was an E5. I knew the guys that were like E3s that were married that lived in quarters on base or apartments. Like,
I bet they were just miserable.
yeah,
pricks.
they were same age, because like I always had a group to do shenanigans with. Was always there and ready.
Yeah.
And it was a frat out. We had our matching T-shirts. Like, we had the same stuff. You had your battalion. Your company, your platoon, and I was grateful that I got to experience that.
Yeah.
And it's how you grow up, man. You got to sow your oats.
You do.
I don't encourage getting hit by a bunch of bouncers, because stuff could happen where you might not get to go on that deployment.
Yeah, exactly.
And I know
that's the goal.
especially some services really frown upon those kinds of things prior to deployments.
Yeah, they pretty much frown upon a lot of stuff that one would do before deployment.
Yeah.
Frown upon a lot of stuff that you would do during deployment too.
Frown upon a lot of stuff you do post-deployment.
Yeah. Moving on. Well, that's it, man. That was mail call. That was some story to start everything off.
It's an interesting one.
Yeah, I just think it's a different dynamic when you are about to go on an endeavor that you have no idea what you're going to expect.
Yeah, especially, and again, like, my first deployment was as a peacekeeper, right? But then, like, my second deployment, we invaded a country. Like, we weren't relieving anybody.
Right.
Like, we just left and
Yeah.
went. So we didn't know we were really going. So you don't have anything to build up to. But I think as the war on terror escalated, for the past 20 years, people knew what they were getting into.
Yeah.
And, you see the carnage on TV. You just go to YouTube and type in fucking IEDs, and you see some gnarly
It's
shit.
nuts, yeah.
And from the point of the bad guy filming it,
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, and guys know that stuff, and I, like, it still is crazy to me that you can't drink in the military till you're 21. It's so stupid.
It's like when I joined, I was 17. My parents had to sign my life away, basically saying it was okay for me to go fight in a war. But when I'm on post, I can't enjoy the sweet, sweet mother's milk.
I don't know how it is today, but even like when I was a younger guy, we could only have a 6-pack in our fridge during the work week. Like, you couldn't have more than a 6-pack.
That just means you're drinking.
Yeah.
That just means you're drinking what you got.
Yeah. So
that's a silly rule.
Yeah, I know. You just have to
just
always keep a 6-pack and just buy a 24-pack.
Forcing you guys to drink everything you got. That's stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for coming on, man.
Absolutely.
We appreciate it.
I'm stoked for you. This is a pretty
fun.
Cool avenue to tell some stories about military life people don't know about. It's not all spit and polish and medals, man.
Right. That's what I wanted. Like, I wanted somewhere where people who did serve can come and listen to the stories that, just like the Escape for the 22, you go there to recreate those bonds that you miss. Like, you don't get these type of stories from anywhere other than veterans.
Not
so different.
No.
Yeah. Like, don't come at me with your stories of what you did in college. It's so different.
Yeah.
So I wanted a place where veterans could come to get that again, just like being back at the smoke pit type of thing. But also, to give people who weren't in the service, kind of like a little more of an inside look.
Glimpse.
Yeah.
Behind the curtain. Not fully behind the curtain.
Just a little
Pay
bit.
extra for that. But.
Not behind the curtain, but behind the boots.
That's right.
Yeah, so thanks for everyone who joined us for our first episode of Behind the Boots. That's all we have for today. So make sure you don't just hit it, smash it, that like button, and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. It's also going to be on anywhere where you listen to podcasts. Thanks to our producer, Big Dick Nick, and WillCo Media for helping us bring this show to life. And of course, again, Bobby, thank you very much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
And make sure everyone checks out the Escape for the 22 Foundation at escapeforthe22.org. Been meaning to tell you about that. There's not enough pictures of me on there.
We'll get some.
Yeah.
Cameras keep breaking.
I'm not. How am I supposed to be the face of the foundation if there's no pictures? So again, we want to hear your stories.
Tell your friends.
Yeah. So send them our way, man. The link's going to be at the bottom of this. You can also log into the interwebs, willcomediapro.com/BTB podcast, and you can submit them right there on the site. All the links that we talked about are going to be there as well in the description, and give us a rating. If you liked what you saw, give us a good rating. If you think we can improve, let us know. That's the only way we get better. So that's it for us, man. Thanks for joining us for the first episode.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Bardowski out.